100! 100! I feel like I've won the lottery or something, you know, like 100, it's like 100 million bucks. No, it's 100, but that's okay. I'm good with it. So for those of you just tuning in, we're here every Monday here at Tropical Nomad. You might want to close the door. Tropical Nomad, 6:30 every Monday for forever. 6:30 every Monday forever. So feel free to come and join us. It's like a studio audience that you heard in the background. Feel free to come and join us or catch us through Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and YouTube Live. And we'll soon be scaling this to become a proper podcast, and we'll separate the sound out and send it to all the different platforms. But I want to welcome an incredible guest. You see the...
That's okay.
It's all right.
No need to be nervous. I'm not going to eat you.
Oh, he's going to eat me. You heard it here. So now, Aurimas is an amazing guy. You're going to see tonight really what makes him tick. He's a human optimization. I'm going to call you a human optimization expert, even though you say it differently. And he has an amazing story. Now, let's get this straight. So each week, I don't really study my guests at all because I feel that, like, you know, it won't bounce along. It won't be fresh for me and fresh for you if I study him, right? So I know his energy. I know his vibe. I get a beautiful energy from him. So I'm looking forward to kind of going under the bonnet with you, coming like a passenger in a car. And if you're here in the studio audience, you also get to ask questions. So that's why you should come be part of the studio audience. So without further ado, welcome to the show, brother man.
Thank you for having me. Such an honor. 100th episode.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, like when we started this in Life in Bali, it was never with the idea that this would go on for a long period of time. There was a definite intention behind it. You know, part of that intention was, you know, I had 3 friends commit suicide, right? This is a while ago now, and they were all on Mondays. Scratching a bit deeper, I realized that for those who are looking to do that, Monday is the day, right? So part of doing it on a Monday was about how can we drop, you know, like a dent, a bit like a stone into a pond of still water, and the ripples affect the whole. That's the universe, right? So if you drop a powerful, positive intention in, it's counteracting those other forces which are taking people away from us. So that was one of the most important key parts of why spreading inspiration and impact on a Monday was really important. The other part of it is to show us that, right, no matter who's sitting in this chair, full respect to you, my brother, like there's a few things that make us tick as human beings. You know, one of them is that people inspire people. So no matter where we are, people inspire people, either to do what they did or to do the opposite of what they did. Either way, right, we inspire one another. And the other one is that we're here in Indonesia, and even this was very synchronistic. So Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is basically unity and diversity. So now the other key aspect of SpeakuP Monday is about embracing unity, diversity, and inclusion. So what that means is, despite our incredible stories, underneath it all, there are things that unite us, humanitarianly speaking, on a level of humanity. And this is what I love, because either way, this always comes out. So no matter the color of our skin, you know, I grew up in 2 children's homes in London for 18 years, so I learned about embracing diversity and inclusion from a very, very young age. But it's powerful because when you see something for yourself in the guest, or something that comes up, it reminds you of who you really are and the greatness that we all have within us, no matter of the color, the background, and so on. So these are some of the things which are super important, which are hardwired into the DNA of SpeakuP Monday. So longer intro than usual, but hey, it's number 100. We can do it, right? So on to you, my brother. So human optimization, right? So firstly, you know, what does that mean to you? When I say human optimization, what does that mean to you?
You see, usually I start with a little spiel that is pre-prepared. I'm going to go a completely opposite route this time. So, you see, when it comes to human optimization, we as humans, we're great. We look to be great writers, great directors, great creators, but very few of us actually strive to be great humans. because a human being is such a multidimensional creature that we fail to tap into all those facets that are available for us in order to become those optimized humans. So we become those great creators, we become millionaires, we become whatever it is that one strives to become, but we fail to become great humans, and we fail to excel at the most important thing, which is life.
Got it. And hi, darling. So here's the thing, right? So I fully am embraced, entrenched, and immersed in this understanding that life has a plan for us. And our lives and the things that happen to us, life is happening for us, not against us, are trying to pull us towards our true north. A bit like when you're on a boat and you're trying to steer for your true north, and you keep getting blown off course and you keep righting the ship. So it's almost like that every event experience in our life is giving us an opportunity to bring us back to where we're supposed to be going. So now, human optimizations, but that is, you're the only one I've met who have called yourself that. I've met many people who are inspiring and help people to do things, but never that. So, your background, right? So give us a bit of insight. I know from earlier on, I asked you one question, which is where you were born. That's the only question I asked you. So how did your background, or if it did, prepare you for what you're doing now?
Absolutely. So, born in Lithuania, in a town of 20,000 people, and I found myself to be struggling with all kinds of diseases. So I had kidney stones at the age of 13. I spent 5 years straight on antibiotics, and I found myself in a hospital ward at the age of 13, surrounded by 70, 80-year-old men on their deathbed. And that kind of, I just didn't know how to get out of it. It just was part of life, I guess. And that transition, things got better somehow naturally, and then yet that transition into my adulthood. And one day, I don't know how it all started. I just said, hey, I just want to discover how to take care of my body. And that led me to discovering fitness, of course. It's like if you look good, then you're gonna feel good. That's that natural way of thinking when you're 18 years old. And that's where my journey started. So once I discovered that fitness, that being fit and being healthy are mutually exclusive, I actually started digging into nutrition, into nutritional biochemistry, then started diving into biohacking, into the worlds of like these fringe optimization tactics when it comes to health, only to realize that, okay, health is just that one component of the human being. Then we have our mindset, what's between our ears. How do we take care of that? How do we become more efficient and effective? And how do we become better leaders? So that's what led into me discovering what does it actually mean to be that optimized human. Those four main areas: biology, leadership, efficiency, and mindset.
See, thank you. One of the things which I notice about you, right, your eyes are piercing, man. And Celine, I'm sure, sees this as others do as well. Obviously, this guy, by the way, I'm tall. This guy towers over me, right? It's like it was 6'10", 6'9"?
6'8".
6'8", 6'9", add it on, you got shoes on, come on, add it on. Who cares about another inch, right? But, like, the eyes are the window to the soul. Right? So when I look at you, I get, which I don't talk about this too often, but it's coming up, so it means I'm supposed to talk about it. Right? So what I get, apart from being an incredibly loving human being and a softie at heart, which I'm just getting what's coming in, like you have a deep sense of love for human beings, right? Now you're from a part of the world where 2 world wars started. Right, the Balkans, that area now, and there's an energy in each country. It's like Bali has. So I had a conversation the other day about how does the country that we live in determine who we become. So obviously we've got 0 to 7, the theta brainwave state, blah, 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 got that. But also there's the country, the continent, the landmass of where we live, of the geothermal activity, right, which you find here in Bali. The Balkans, when you look at the map, it's a lot of countries closely, densely packed together. It's like there's too many elements in this pasta, right? So in a way, it feels crowded, right? So was there anything in your childhood that began to bring this love into your life?
That's an interesting question, actually, because, so I want to correct you real quick, because Lithuania is more in the Baltics. So it's a bit cooler and not that dense. It's pretty spread out, very flat, and quite the opposite, man. When it comes to love, it was the exact opposite.
Wow.
It was more of I was actually reflecting upon this with my partner and actually my housemate the other day. It's like how it was a rough environment to grow up in. I just didn't realize that, like from death threats to things that teenagers should not be experiencing, all those things, it was a survival mentality. You just had to fuck someone over in order to survive. That was how I was wired. So I'm actually really blessed and gifted to have left that environment fairly early, or early enough to rewire all those patterns. And I moved to the United States when I was 20, when I just turned 20, and people were trying to genuinely help me. And I was kind of looking, what are you trying to get out of me? Where's the catch? You know, what's the catch? What are you expecting? What do I need to give back? So it took me a few years to rewire that, actively actually become aware that, hey, people just try to help people. So actually when it comes to that love I pretty much only got from my parents, but definitely not from my environment.
Got it. So your parents' journey, so do you know much about their lives, how they grew up? Can you share a little bit about it, whatever comes up?
Soviet mentality as well, so a lot of survival, a lot of scarcity, a lot of just penny pinching. And my dad was actually not there when I was born because he was hustling, actually moving cars from Lithuania to Germany, selling cars there to make a living. So they were both well-educated, but being well-educated didn't mean anything in Lithuania in those post-Soviet times. And it was just, we just left the Soviet Russia when I was born. So that was just them trying to deliver the best that they could. My mom had me fairly early. I mean, she was 22, I believe in our day and age now, it's pretty early. But so they were just trying to survive. They were just trying to raise me the best way they could, and as all parents, they jack us up. So it was like, and then we look to become aware of those patterns and then rewire them.
Okay, so now with the love, right? So you mentioned it came from your parents. So, but you said you went through this time, which was like this time of not trusting human beings, right? So what do you want? It's like London. It's like, oh, I get it, right? I can relate, you know. But the love aspect, right? I'm not getting clear on exactly how that happened, because again, you know, like love, if we grow up with it, that's amazing. But you went through a time where it wasn't really there, or where you felt like people were trying to get something from you. So how did you go through that and come up the other side still as a loving human, right?
I just felt like I did get a lot from my family. I really did get a lot from my family, and then, as I said, I ran away to discover that hey, there can be people who are helping you out without expecting anything in return. So that was I do believe that I was raised really damn well, and my parents did a really solid job. Again, there are obviously always there are patterns. We're just having this conversation the other day, and it's like, hey, we all have daddy issues. That's like we just all do. Yeah. So
which are yours?
Oh, that's a good question.
He brought it up. What can I do? But by the way, while he's trying to dig himself out of a hole to find out why the Balkans and the Baltics, I'm so sorry. At school, my geography has been impaired clearly. Like, I know that I'm not going to live that one down. But it's okay. It's not about the answer to the question, it's what the question evokes. So we're covered.
No,
we're
exactly.
Good.
He actually did this to give me time to actually prepare to answer that question.
I'm trying to help you out.
I appreciate it.
Daddy issues, let's get to it. Come on, man.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues. Put your hands up. Your daddy issues. See, you're not alone. You're not alone. It's half the room put their hands up, and the other half were lying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you see, they're looking and going like, "Shall I put my hand up?" I know I have daddy issues, but I don't put my hand up. Anyway, all right, daddy issues.
Daddy issues. All right. So one of the biggest things actually is judgment. So every single time I just remember this story always comes up for me. It's like every single person who is driving in front of my dad is a fucking idiot. That was just how it was. It just, and I was actually reflecting on certain patterns that I engage in terms of the way I get angry or the way I react to certain people. It's not natural. It's trained, and it's trained by the patterns that I saw from my father, from my fatherly figure. So it's just interesting to reflect upon those and then see, how is that actually serving me? Or notice. Usually, I don't notice it myself. It's either my girlfriend who points it out, or somebody from the outside. And then I start that introspective journey. Is like, where is that coming from? And 9 times out of 10, yeah, it's my family.
You know, thank you for getting there, mate. What I love about life, right, when you have that perspective, or maybe it's someone who's not really around you that much. So Celine, bring you up again, because you're amazing, beautiful woman, inside and out. Like, I get that. But you know what she does for a living is to uncover people's subconscious patterns, right? So you're with a woman which you're never going to get away with anything, right? Anything is like, listen, that is not going to get by me, honey. Go back, rewind. Let's look at that, and you're like, damn, I can't get out. I'm like 6'8", 6'9" with shoes. My girl is a lot smaller, but she's got me. She's got me. So like now, if it comes up, like how aware are you? Because what you do for a living is about awareness, right? Awareness in others, and sometimes it's very difficult to see that within ourselves, right? That's why we all need coaches and so on. But like, how do you deal with it now when it comes up? What are the triggers, and what do you do?
Man, so one of the interesting triggers is that my initial response, I have that avoidance pattern. So it's like to shut down and just get the hell away from that situation. So that's my natural response, which has been actively worked on and almost rewired now. Where I was like, simply knowing that she's not trying to eat me for breakfast after I get burned. So she's actually helping me to point those things out. It's like, what I actually genuinely want is the truth. How do we get closer to the truth that is without any stories or just masks or any of the bullshit? So that's having that partner in my life who aligns with that and who actually pulls me up on my shit. That's amazing. It's like that's exactly what I want. And as uncomfortable as it is sometimes, it's so liberating, because I shine this bright light that I really don't like in the studio setting on the dark sides of me, that I really have. So it's a gift. It's an absolute gift. And as I said, sometimes I want to scream. Sometimes I want to. It's like, who are you at 5'2" in your heels, or 5'1", to make me uncomfortable and make me feel like I'm just trigger that fear response where I want to eat myself alive. And then I look at it, I remind myself that I'm safe. I have that safe container to grow in, and there is no judgment, because that's exactly what I do myself. That to pull up, I love having uncomfortable conversations. I love staring a person in the eye and bringing up the things that are extremely uncomfortable and sitting with it. So having that mirrored back to me, it's like, oh, I love it. I love it. It's a perverted, thing. I enjoy it.
A few people there are like, perverted? What does that mean? It's not that sort of perversion, all right? Come on, he's giving a break here. But what I love about your story so far is that this love that was inspired by your parents, right? And and they came from scarcity, and then they showed you love, and then you went through this time of like love being questioned. There's a massive part of you that always gravitates towards that, which is why you're, magnetizing amazing people like Celine in your life, who keep you honest and keep you, it's not grounded, the word I'm looking for, but attached to vulnerability, which love is actually love, and that's what keeps coming. It's beautiful. Oh, I feel pretty blessed to be here. Thank you. I love that. So an experience for you. So attachment disorder comes up. Just popped in there. So attachment disorder is, so growing up in a children's home, me, I had a different type of attachment disorder. So what it was is I thought I was born alone, in the world alone, and would die alone, right? And I would quickly attach to people, or get attached, and then at a very vulnerable level, very quickly, very deep, but then in time, not very long, I'll get uncomfortable because it'd be like, I don't really want to stay here. And this attachment disorder happens when you feel this need that someone's going to leave you. So what you do is that you leave them first. Now, leaving them first doesn't necessarily mean that you say, hey, we're done. With me, how it came up was that I would create the situation and the circumstances for my partner to question me. Like, are we cool? Are we okay? Should we take a break? Like, are we good? And for those of you who have seen, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, the screen splits in three. It's you having a conversation with your partner in 1/3 of the screen, and it moves forward, and it's you like on a plane, right? And in the last screen, it's you sitting on the beach in Acapulco drinking a tequila, right? So like, I would be out the door like that, and it's called attachment disorder. And it gave me, once I realized what it was, it gave me the keys to unlocking my relationships massively. And every coaching thing that I do, I tend to revisit it with people. So is there, maybe it's attachment disorder, even though you're brought up in a loving home, but I'm just hearing this thing about being vulnerable and then push me, pull you, and it's like, I'm there, but calling my shit, but I don't like it, but I want it, but So is there any underlying pattern that you've seen within yourself recently that you're like, shit, didn't realize it was that one?
There are a few, but something that comes up right now is actually attachment to a certain identity. Yeah. Because when I became an adult, one of the identities that I was fighting for was a soldier. I joined the military once I turned 18. Really wanted to go to Afghanistan. That was I'm going. And fortunately enough, I had great leader question my decision, question my choice, and he's directing me. That one conversation of him questioning my decision as an 18-year-old directed me into a completely different direction. I would have still been in Lithuania. My dad says, it's about 60% chance that you would have been an alcoholic. So, and then I was like, oh, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. So, and that single conversation, that's why now I do what I do, because I know that one single conversation, one single question can completely derail the toxic plans or toxic route that one might be going in.
What was the conversation?
The conversation was that question. It's like, what the hell are you doing here? Yeah. And I just came up with a bullshit answer. It's like, I'm here to serve my country. It's like, how are you serving your country as an 18-year-old going to Afghanistan? Like, I haven't thought of that. So he ultimately put me into a completely different direction. He's like, why don't you go to an officer school? And he planted the seed, this really, really dim and tiny seed of, it's like, hey, I saw your grades. It's like, I don't understand why you haven't applied to officer school, and you could possibly study at West Point Academy in the United States. And he just planted that really, just like a tiny seed in my mind. And I was just obsessed with that idea. And I started chasing it. I was like, so I applied to that officer school. I was like, if you still want to go to Afghanistan after when you're an officer, go for it. You'll be more mature. You'll have more experience. It's like, why would you put yourself into danger of sacrificing your life at 18 years old if for nothing? So I'm just really fortunate to have had that conversation, because I could have ended up dead or alcoholic, which I don't know which one is worse. So, yeah.
You know, like, it's amazing because we've done 100 episodes. This is number 100, and it's amazing because it never ceases to amaze, surprise, inspire me when I. And by the way, if anyone is here, like, if you want to really get to know yourself at a deep level, interview people. Right? Because the conversations that you'll have, the questions that get answered, the questions that come up, right, are those sorts of questions that can change your life. Like that. I think was it Zig Ziglar? My God, we're going back. You know, like, was it this day is the first day of the rest of your life. So this day right now is the first day of the rest of your life. It means that you can change at any time. So today, right now, you can choose to be a different person. A different identity. Live into that identity, commit to that identity, and away you go. You know, it's fascinating, right? So interviewing people, like, even if we've all got grandparents, if they're still alive, grandparents are an amazing source of information and love. Especially grandparents, right? So I remember before, you know, looking at my grandparents, I met my grandmother a couple of times. I just thought that she was this frail old woman, you know, who didn't really know much, who was having trouble holding her water. And in a few of those times, I got to really scratch beneath the surface of who she was, what she went through, who she became, and how and why that happened. It's amazing. And when you do it with your family, there's like a shamanic connection with you and your family that really help to dissolve some things which have been around your generations for a long time. It's really powerful. Anyway, get back to this, huh? So, okay, so did you ever get a chance to thank him? Officer, you're 18 years of age. What are you doing with your life? Did you ever get a chance to thank him?
I did. Yeah. I did. And it was a great, very simple conversation. It's like, I just couldn't say more than thank you. And he knew. He was on the way to retire, because most of the younger officers, they wouldn't have done that. And I was just actually reflecting upon this, that throughout my time in the military, in the corporate world, I've seen a lot of great executives, but so many poor leaders. They were so great at what they did, but they were not great human beings. And I learned a lot of what not to do. And that ultimately led me into this whole optimization world, where it's like, hey, do less stupid things, you'll be smarter.
Love it. So in the audience, and I'm going to pick on you again, man. So Alka was Dutch Marines. Right? So, and he's tall as you, pretty much, right? Almost. He's nodding his head. I'm not as tall as him. So, is there anything that comes up for you when he just said that about one person, right? 18 years of age. What are you doing? Why do you want to do it? You know, was there any one person for you that has given you that sort of love in your life? Because what that guy showed you was, pardon the French, fucking amazing. You know, when his job is to get you prepared, get them out. Next in, next out. You know, so just something.
I wish he did that 14 weeks earlier. That would have been a good time.
Man. So I interviewed a guy the other day. His name is Lee Duncan. He's a British guy, black guy from the West Indies. He's a championship boxer, professional boxer. And what came out of this interview with him was this embracing what he refers to as a champion's mindset. And he kept on saying it, kept coming up. Now this guy, there's a guy called Prince Nassim. Who remembers Prince Nassim? Incredible boxer, British, amazing. So he was in a house, right, full of all of these absolute legends of boxing. And I was on Clubhouse the night before, and they spoke about this thing which I've forgotten, which is basically about, you know, if you can be held accountable to a different standard, by the people who are around you. So I look at you, I look at the Yogi Lab crew, right? Aaron, got it right, didn't I? Right? Aaron, like Dave, Brian, you, Sasha, right? Amazing people. And when I was up there, when I came to see you at the Astana, what I felt was this incredible container that this guy was referring to. This container of love, but this container of, without saying, I hold you to a higher standard, it's like this expectation, but not negatively, this positive expectation that you will do well. Because that's just how it is, right? So what,
to step up.
There you go. So this guy, Lee, grew up in a house with like 5 world champion boxers. Fucking amazing, right? And he went deep into the champion's mindset. So when I say champion's mindset to you, like what comes up?
What comes up is me nearly getting knocked out during my first boxing fight. I embarrassed myself publicly on the national television. So let me get into the story of it. That was Veterans Day 2013. It was my first bout, and my boxing coach decided that it was a good idea to put me against someone who's been in the boxing game for 4 years versus myself 3 months. And it's like, yeah, he's big enough, he'll be fine. And not quite. So it took me about one round, and so about 153 seconds for the ref to say that's enough. Let's stop that. So the shame, I really don't think that I ever felt more shame than at that moment, because you have a certain expectation. Again, identity, living up to, oh, he's a big guy, he should be knocking people out, right? So, and me stepping in the ring and just completely embarrassing myself, getting humiliated and get my ass whooped by someone who's, not my size. It was embarrassing. It was straight up embarrassing. So when it comes to that champion's mindset, I was actually thinking about this. What comes up for me is, I had 2 choices at that point, and one choice was like, hey, this boxing thing is not for me, and choice number 2 was get back. You've been in the boxing game for 3 fucking months, so get back in the gym, start training, and come back and fight. So fortunately, most of the time it was just, it's just not for you. It's just you're not made for this. Just go play basketball. That's what you were doing. And my coach saw something in me. He apologized, I believe. No, Tom doesn't apologize. Never mind. Never mind. He did not apologize. He simply nodded at me after the fight, and I saw that in him. It's like, are you gonna step up or step back? So I'm glad he didn't say anything, actually, because I would have probably, I don't know what would have happened, but I'm really glad to have had that experience in general, and that ultimately, when you said champion's mindset, that was what led me into more fights, into more bouts, into testing myself in that arena, and ultimately having an opportunity to go the professional route, possibly. And I said, hey, I have this head thing, and I could use it for better things than getting punched by, guys who were 120 kilos. So I decided to go the other route.
Got it. And what I got from that was a step up or step back. Beautiful. Step up or step back. Boom. Clean. Beautiful, brother. And the interesting thing is that this guy, Lee Duncan, I think is the first British boxer to be a professional boxer and hold a master's degree at the same time. Just, what? So then, which is, by the way, I had no idea about him boxing. In case you're wondering, so is that part of I don't have a script of questions. I don't rehearse anything. I just go with the energy that we all create in the room. Questions come in, I listen, and we go from there. So each week it fascinates me what comes up, because I don't know what's going to come up, but I know something will. So it just makes me smile. I love it. So human beings, right? So human optimization. So what thing if there is one thing, have you noticed that all the people that you're working with, as human beings, we all suffer from, and we can all create?
Good question. Damn. Okay. We all suffer from our environment. That's number one. That's by far the biggest thing, because actually yesterday Celine and I, or Celine was reflecting upon this. It's like they are not creating the environment for us to thrive in. It's like all the things that I've learned about nutrition are wrong, or how Aaron says is like AJ just makes everything less fun. He just takes away all the things that I love. so that's pretty much what optimization is at the end of the day. But what it does really, so we all suffer from the ingrained patterns and the programming that has been offered by society, by family, by all of it. And when you think about it, people who stand out, people who step up, they're not the majority of the population, because the majority of the population, when you look at the statistics, are sick, obese, and overweight. And that's not something that any of us would want to strive for. So what can we do to this vehicle, this meat suit, to at least run at its full capacity, so we can actually step into more important things as our true purpose, as feeling love and actually stepping up and accomplishing things in the world that actually matter, and not your stupid human body that is so limited. So that's what comes up for me.
Got it. Wow. Love it, man. Love it. And like, so by the way, in about 10-15 minutes probably, we're going to open it up. So if you've got any questions in your head, just think about what that would look like, and we'll give you one of these mics and you can ask your question. So now, what has been the most challenging thing for you to imbibe on your journey to doing what you do now?
Most challenging thing is actually embodying the things that you're preaching. One of the biggest things when it comes to my journey in general is like I see a lot of great practitioners, I see a lot of great coaches. What really angers me is seeing that they do not practice what they preach, and that hypocrisy that really angers me. It's like if you're teaching someone, I mean, knowledge is everywhere. You can go on Google, find anything, but that wisdom is a very rare occurrence that we need to hold on to. And people who lead others, it's like blind leading the blind. You know, so people who lead others really need to embody and live into that wisdom, rather than just having the knowledge that they're passing on.
Got it. Why? Why does it get to you?
Because I know that I'm not perfectly embodying all of them. Because it actually shows me that I'm not perfect.
And how does that feel for you?
It used to feel worse. Now it feels great.
Round of applause, man. That's cool. Yeah. I think one of the hardest things as human beings that we can face is our own mirror, right? And to be vulnerable and open to that level or that extent in front of other people is really an everyday thing that people do. And I think it makes you more powerful and more wise and more in tune than ever, because, you know, like one of the other things which Lee Duncan, the boxer, said to me the other day is like, when people doubt you, it's because they doubt themselves. So if you're trying to do something and you're trying to reach and you're trying to do the Zig Ziglar, today it's the first day of the rest of my life, right? And you're doing it, and someone comes in and says, oh yeah, nah man, you're not going to do it. You know, what are you going to do? So that doubt that they're expressing usually comes out of the fact that they've doubted themselves, or still do, and that's why they feel uncomfortable. So this thing about being perfect, You know, this thing about, you know, I've got to do it 100% all the way every time. You know, it's interesting when this comes up because I think that it can limit us. And the reason why I asked for a round of applause is because you found a way past it, which I'm not sure how many people actually, truly, really do find a way past it, but it's possible. So I love that, man.
Appreciate it.
Man, I'm loving getting to know you, brother. What a great soul you are, which I always felt, but didn't know why. And that's what part of this is about. It's about two people getting to know one another who feel something, but they don't know why. And then when things come up, things drop in, stories come through, you get this deeper sense of who you are. And I learn from everybody, you know, always. You know, it's really powerful, man. So, learning. So is there any mentor, when I say the word mentor to you, like, is there anyone or anything that comes up?
I would say that I'm surrounded by mentors. My partner, my crew at the Yogi Lab. It's like they're all my mentors. They're all my teachers, and they show me the parts about myself that I don't like. They mirror things back to me, and again, that imperfection. That's something that I used to strive for in the past, and then I realized it's not that. It's just consistency over perfection. It's like, so how many people really give up when they start something and then they fall off the wagon for one single day and they say, that's it. It wasn't perfect, so I'm throwing it out. And when you zoom out and look at the grand scheme of things, it's like, one of the things that I'm really proud of actually is me logging my meditations. And I'm at like 940 something days in a row. But it's not, if I was to do all those 940 days in a row and as 100% as perfection, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night, I would have never reached that. Sometimes it's just that 2-minute break before my meal, just to log that in. Sometimes it's just before bed, having those 10 deep breaths and actually being conscious and aware of what I'm doing and actually timing that. So always consistency and progress over perfection. That's just one of the most important lessons that I've learned.
Love it. And is there any difference from a coach to client? Is there any difference that you've found between men and women?
In what regards? So
human optimization. Then people are coming to you to see, you know, how they can optimize themselves. So then working, you know, with men and with women, are there any, and again, we're generalizing, right? And generalizations aren't always correct, but maybe if we do like a mathematical poll, then this would be the majority, right? The propensity. So from that perspective, like, is there any differences that you found? Yeah.
Absolutely. So men come to me, you know, optimization is such a masculine thing. It's like, just let's get optimized. Get optimized biceps, or I don't know, or I want to perform better sexually, or whatever it is that people are actually looking for. It is a very masculine thing to do. And when women come, it's like they know that optimization is that thing that they're after, but it's more on the emotional level. For men, you first have to take care of this, you know, meat suit, and take care of all the biological impediments that are getting in the way of them reaching their full potential, and then going to their mind. Whereas women are more open to start with the mind, and then body kind of follows. So that's the main difference, I would say.
Wow. You know, it's interesting because I'm looking at you now. So here we have two great couple from I can say Russia, right? I can say that, it's all good. And what they do is that they optimize your TikTok. So you're at 4.9 million followers. So if you want to know how to scale your TikTok really fast, that couple, right? They're amazing. But what I love about it is that, so you mentioned about the masculine. I was laughing because I get it, right? When you say optimize, I was like, that's so masculine. And then you said it's so masculine. So I'm like, oh, man. So I love it when I find, or people that pop out, which are turning that on its head. They're like contrarian, and you are a contrarian, right? So you're using that word, and you're turning it around and using it for something powerful for people. Because I think, one of the most powerful. There's a lady. Her name's Leah Steele. Who knows Leah Steele? One at the back, beautiful. I don't even know her, I don't think personally, but I saw a post with her, I think a couple of days ago, and she was talking about Venus. I'm not really into astrology per se, though I recognize its importance. I recognize that it's relevant. It is, but I just don't choose to look into it. And I caught this post about her saying that there's a Venus, something going on with Venus, which happens very, very rarely at the moment, towards the end of the month. But what it really signifies is leaders to emerge. Leaders to emerge. Actually, one step further is that, because we're all leaders, especially here, right? So it's not only emerging, it's about you claiming it. It's about you stepping up, right? So we've all got that little voice, human optimization, that voice in your head saying, do it, do it, do it. And then the other voice going, no, don't do it, don't do it. Right? So we all have this choice every day, every moment, right, to step up, to embrace the leaders that we are, right? So then watching this particular post from her, I just got all like inspired, And I'm in general, I'm inspired most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time I am. But she struck a nerve, and it just hit me. And I was like, fuck. And it's a full moon, so I'm out there meditating in the full moon, like, ooh, And there's this guy called Sri Akashna who's got this amazing meditation for manifestation for the planet. Not for yourself, but for the planet, right? And if you want to know that one, send me a DM and I'll send it to you. It's amazing. So it's the last 2 mornings I've been up at 3 a.m. or staying up till 3 a.m. after Clubhouse. And I've been doing this meditation. 5 simple poses, but it's amazing. And I feel like I'm really contributing even on another level again to what's happening on the planet. So when I say the word contribution and leadership, what comes up for you?
Once again, stepping up. In order for us to contribute. So first of all, this whole optimization cycle obviously starts with me. Leadership starts with yourself. So when you actually say that, what comes up for me is, first of all, I have to sort myself out and not in a perfectionist way, but actually shine that light on the darkness that's within me and actually face it and help others do the same. So that's ultimately, leadership is ultimately that, helping other humans step into their light, to take all that darkness within them, from within them, and actually show it to them, and then they have a choice either to step into it or, once again, step back.
Step forward, step back. So then, mission, what's yours? I get the sense that you have one. Right? Do you get the sense he has a mission? Yeah, right, there you go.
First of all, I want to start with the company's mission. That's something that I had a chance to step into recently, to step into the new role for the Yogi Lab. So that's the big mission, is to create the hub for 80 million meditators. So that's first and foremost mission as a company. And my personal mission is to eliminate the struggle, eliminate the impediments that are preventing people from tapping into their full potential. It's that simple.
Love it. Is there anything that you're missing?
No.
Love it. It's funny. I got Aaron over here, who's cracking up.
It was a serious question. It was a serious question. I was doing some math.
Because some people are probably waiting for this, for this massive answer that it's like, no. Oh, I love it. That's awesome. So what we're going to do, so I love you, Aaron. By the way, shout out to you, Aaron Bayer. I pronounced it right, didn't I? So Aaron is a guy who I met. There you go. It's true, right? Who I met care of another friend called Rhonda Swan in Uluwatu, and we were going to this event, which was all these guys meditating and just chilling out. Give me a chance to have a break, by the way. And we were either both late or didn't really care about what was happening. Be honest. And we just noticed each other. And like this guy, Aaron, who was on a few weeks ago, some weeks ago, was a thug, right? I can say that, right? And what he's done with his life is awe-inspiring. And I connect with him too because there are some things we have in common. And I love that about you, brother. So I just want to give props to you because you were the guy who brought Yogi Lab to SpeakuP Monday. And I love Yogi Lab, from Dave to this beautiful man to you to Sasha, right? Because the mission that you're on, this Maharishi effect, and what you're doing for people is so incredibly inspiring to me because, you know, in many ways we have this idea about what a yogi should be. Or a yogi should come from this background, should be like born a yogi or something, and they're just, you know, like white in terms of spirit the whole way through their lives, and that's it, right?
I can't even cross my legs in the full lotus. So.
But as you said about, you know, neither can I, god dang. But it's crazy because each of you have got an incredible background, which is almost the opposite to what I believe what a yogi should be. And that, to me, the gap gives me possibility that I think that everyone can relate to. And that's why, one of the reasons why I love all of you guys, so I just want to thank you on camera for being that guy, right? And for being behind all of these guys who have come and being such a stand for them, right? Love it, and I love you. So thank you very much indeed, all right? Respect. So we're going to get the microphone out. Sister Bella. Yeah, so has anyone got a question? Just put your hand up, right? And we're going to bring in a microphone. Turn it towards your mouth. It sounds crazy, but it's every week. Turn it towards your mouth, right? Now remember this. If you're sitting there with a question and you're worried about, I can't answer that question. So what we have going on here is a collective intelligence. I'm not asking the questions. I'm tuning into whatever is. The questions are coming out. I'm listening to pick up the thread and the energy and the vibe and the flow of the conversation. So we're all connected here today. So any question that you have, even though you think it might be the dumbest, stupidest, obvious question, it's not, because not only you've got it, but somebody else in the room has it, but perhaps they're too fearful or scared to ask that question. So it's up to you to step up, become the leader, and ask that question, all right? So hands up, those who have a question. Alka, right, let's get you first. So while we're getting the microphone to him, Alka is a guy, Dutch Marines, has an amazing story of, you know, just how he had to really connect to his masculinity and embrace his femininity as well to become a more complete person in his relationship with his beautiful partner, Ilse, and their beautiful daughter. So I'm so proud of this guy. He came to one of the first men's circles that I started some years ago here. We went for a good year. About 30, 40 guys went through that men's circle, and each one of us actually has had some incredible breakthroughs, because men, I feel it's really important that we connect with one another and we speak and we're vulnerable with one another, and we learn to be men by embracing our femininity as well as our masculinity. So it's super powerful. Alka, over to you, brother.
Thank you for the introduction, Rob. And I want to come back to the point you asked me for if I had anything coming up. And for me, the thing that came up was not a conversation I had with somebody, but somebody left me a gift. I switched places in the Marines, and I started as an instructor for the new officers. And I had a member of my climbing team, military climbing team, staying in my room for the weekend, because there was a party in this, you know, the way they do at the military universities. They have parties, like a lot of them. And I wasn't allowed because I was an instructor. So it was a woman, and she stayed in my room. And she knew I was going to do the training the week after, started for the first time. And she already did it because she was an officer already. So she knew the basic way the instructors, normally the Marine instructors, would behave during the basic training. And she knew me personally, and she left me a small note with a bottle of wine, but a small note thanking me for staying, allowing her to stay in the room. And she said just a few words, and it said like, be yourself. That's all she wrote on the card, be yourself. And it totally changed my mindset on how to perform as an instructor during those 4 weeks, or initial 4 weeks. And I had an amazing connection with all my students in the group. And yeah, there was just 2 words for me that totally changed the way I acted after that. And it really, it collided with the other instructors a lot, because they were doing it the way it was supposed to be, it was written down, and I was doing it the way I felt to do it. So it really, yeah, changed my entire way. So that came up for me.
Thanks for expressing that, brother. Respect to you, man. As I said before, man, I'm one of your biggest champions, because I'm so proud of what you've done, who you've become, and what you had to go through along the way. And you embraced that champion's mindset the whole way, man. Like, it's like, honestly, it's super inspiring. And I tell people about you just quietly, just quietly on camera. I tell people, because I'm that taken aback, man. So thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting this. You're one of the first people to actually, you're probably there for number 1, I think, with Morton. Speak Up Monday, number 1 or number 5, I think you came, right? So you've been here, we're up to number 100. So you were here like 95 episodes, 95 weeks ago. So thank you, my brother. Respect and appreciation to you, my man. All right? Thank you.
Thank you for opening the door.
So any questions, folks? I know there's more questions out there. Come on, don't be shy. Erin, I know you have, but we're going to get beautiful girl before first.
Hey guys, loving this interview and the style of it. I can really relate. So I guess my question is, like, the wellness space, the spiritual development space, there's a lot of contradicting information of this is optimal or that's optimal. So how do you guide clients to find what's optimal for them?
Beautiful question. I mean, where do we start? You see, every single camp, whether from the dietary camp to fitness camp, it seems like it's more important these days to identify with one of those camps rather than actually finding out what's best for you. And carnivore and vegan, as opposite as they are, for example, as a dietary preference, they all, on the higher level, they all drive towards the same things. The healthy thing is actually eating real food, not too much, and the food that's going to nourish their bodies. So whether you're vegan, carnivore, or paleo, whatever the hell you're doing, is if it doesn't work for your body, it's like the best diet is the one that works for you. So ultimately, I have no agenda. It's like I'm that person. I'm a nutritional agnostic. I don't give a shit if you're vegan or carnivore. It's like I'm gonna guide you to the things into the direction that works best for you. So that's my take from the dietary perspective. Then again, when it comes to any agenda in optimization, obviously if it's some people come to me asking trying to put on 50 pounds of muscle. So my first question is, what for? And we start unpacking so many other layers and just directions that we can take that relationship into. So again, asking questions, reflecting that upon them, and then helping them get to the place where it's best for them and nobody else. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. We can dive deeper into it.
Yeah, no, that answers it, because it's funny, like, especially being in Bali, you've got the people that are like, it's the vegan way and it's this way, and I just find it so interesting that, yeah, like you said, we're ultimately all striving towards the same thing, and I'm big on we've all got a different way to get there and we're unique, and I just, yeah, and I think you answer the questions. It's by asking good questions you're helping them find their truth. And
ultimately, one of the things that I want to bring up is that as similar as we're all human, right? But we all have that biochemical individuality that needs to be explored. Nothing works for everybody. It's like there are principles that guide most decisions, and there are principles that are pretty much that umbrella of principles that applies to everyone, but when you start digging deeper and go into that realm of optimization, it's endless. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
So I know. If you pass the microphone back, just down here a second. So Erin, if you get up, stand up, and pass the microphone to Celine. I know she's like, oh my God, what's he going to say? What's he going to do? By the way, I love Celine. I think she's amazing. So
I did make my little notes of questions I have for him later. I was taking notes. I'm like, at dinner.
So everybody, Celine is his beautiful partner. She's amazing. And so she came here. Now she's writing down questions for him later on. He's like, damn it, what else did I say? I don't remember. What else did I... Every guy is going like, man.
So look, I'm actually very, I'm excited. I'm used to it.
I love it. I love it. So Celine, with you, I want you to tell people what it is you do. Mm-hmm. Right? As quickly as you can, but comfortable, because I love it, right? I think it's super key for what we're doing now. Then I've got another question for you after that.
Okay. So I work with entrepreneurs to help them tap into the full truth of who they are, truth with a capital T, and then I help them take that truth and turn it into a powerful story that then they can use on the outside. So once they work on the inside, that they can then transmute on the outside to create more influence, more impact, and of course more income. So really helping people understand who they are, what their true story is of everything of who they are, and how can they actually articulate that story in a way that will influence many, many people and will actually help them meet their goals in the physical realm. So
beautiful. Thank you, darling. And what do you love about him?
That's cute. I'm going to go with, there's several things, but I'm just going to go with the word that just dropped down, because I guess that's the one that needs to be said. Humility. Actually, I would say the most humble man I know. And it's interesting because, on the outside, I don't think that it's I don't think it's obvious. I don't think most people see that until they really get to know him. But I have never met anyone who wants and can hold truth the way that he can. Really, I know he was joking about it, like him wanting to stream, but some of the things that I mirror back to him are not easy. and I do it with a lot of love, but it's just, he is always searching for how can I be better? How can I improve? How can I let go of all the things that are in my way? And, it's interesting because that vulnerability that you caught around him talking about embodiment and how he's not perfect, that vulnerability and that recognition of I'm not perfect is exactly what makes him an embodiment of what he teaches. It's that.
Goose pimples.
Mm-hmm. I got more, but I know people got.
Yeah. All right. So let's put him there. What do you love about Celine?
Oh.
Too many things.
Whatever comes up.
The depth of this woman that is just absolutely endless. It just seems there's a layer and a layer, and sometimes I think I hit that rock bottom and just keeps going and going and going and going. So that's the quality and the willingness to go into that depth. And again, it's uncomfortable. I know how uncomfortable it is, and because I see that, and she tells me, and her willingness to go into those depths, that's the thing that I love about her the most.
Beautiful.
And I'm willing to go there because you can hold the space.
Yeah. One of the things which I love about this, and it's not because it's something which I started, it's wherever this is happening, because it's not just here, it's happening in other places, is it's not a typical Q&A, right? And it's not supposed to be. So we haven't really spoken about his work, right? What does he do? How good is he? Blah, 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 blah. It's always about who's underneath, because the way I see it is, so I have a mission, right? So a long time ago, I had some very powerful experiences that began to show me where I am of service in life. And that is about unpacking empathy for people and connecting people together on that level, regardless of color, race, background, ideology, and all the rest of that. So yeah, I went through the racism, went through violence, went through lots of things, right? But that's the story, that was the true north for me, right? So where I sit is, as an intention, I just turned 51, and the intention for me is about the next 50 years is how can I directly, indirectly, positively impact 1 billion people, but positively, right? Directly, indirectly, and go with that. And part of it is doing things like this, because it's easy to talk about him, AJ, from the perspective of work and business and money and all of this stuff. But that's not what connects me to him. What connects me to him is the fact that he can stand or sit there, embrace, invite questions that reveal who he is to you. So it's not about what you do, it's about who you are. And through doing that, I get him, whoever's sitting here, or her, at such a deeper level that I feel connected. And when I feel connected, then miracles can happen. So that's, it's episode number 100. Maybe I'm talking too much, but I don't care. It's episode number 100. But that's it, right? So if anybody here, and there's a few of you here that I know are going to step up, if you want to be here, get in touch, because it's always open, right? I think we've got a month or so backlog, but it's always open, right? It's because the key thing is that if you're feeling that pull to come and sit down and have a conversation, because I wouldn't have a conversation, there's nothing rehearsed. There's no questions that I always ask, because they're the questions that I ask, right? It's true. So the energy is created with this. So everyone is different. Every number 100, all of them are all different. The energy is different with all of them because it's unique to the person and to the energy that's created, and that's what I love. So if you're feeling the pull to come on and share something, and fear might come in straight after, but just hit me up. Because now is a time for leaders to emerge and leaders to step forward, take their place, and impact people in the way that they were born to do. And revealing people's stories, unlocking people's stories is such a beautiful way to do it, because we connect. Right? If he was just sitting here reading from a script, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, fine, yeah. But when you get to see how he answers the questions and he can't, these questions don't come from me, I'll tell you, but you can't hide. And it's great, because then you get to really see who he is and why, on a certain level, we're all connected. So that's what SpeakuP Monday is really about. And now we've created one called SpeakuP Monday, Inspiring Humanity, which is this, but without the studio audience. It's a podcast that hits people up all over the world. And it's just going to keep on growing, because I love doing it and I feel drawn to do it. And it's really cool. So I just want to thank everybody here who's either watching or who will watch, or the people which have rocked up here in person to Tropical Nomad every Monday, 6:30. Thanks, Itchy, Bella, Guzman, and the crew. I really want to thank you for being part of this conversation. It's not over yet, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this conversation, because I think it's an incredibly powerful and important conversation that we all have. And whatever's being triggered for you right now is supposed to, and it's around the full moon, it's around astrology. I'm not into astrology, but I love astrology, right? But whatever's being triggered to you right now, don't delay. Take that step. Zig Ziglar, today or tomorrow or the next day is the first day of the rest of your life. But take the step. And because you're going to feel something when I'm talking, take the step. It's really important. We need it right now. So, last question for you, Celine, and then we'll see if there's any more questions. So, what would you say, as an incredible couple that you are, what is the one thing, if you can reduce it to that that is the key to your relationship?
Radical honesty. Not honesty. Radical honesty. Because there's two different layers. Honesty is, hey, I'm honest. What did you do today? Like, I did this. And here's what I'm thinking. But radical honesty is the willingness to listen to the point where you can hear the moments in between the words. And when he speaks, when I speak, the active listening is so profound that I can hear what he's not saying. And that's what we need to talk about. And from there, I'm sure he can mirror the same back. From there comes the truth of what are your fears? What are your vulnerabilities? What do you really feel right now that you're not saying because you're afraid to? Not because you're afraid of telling me, but it's because you're afraid of letting it out of yourself, right? And that's what the beauty of partnership and of just satisfaction that I found in it. It's not two people playing out two egos, ego heads playing out a story based on each other's patterns and insecurities and expectations, where it's like play, but two souls that are actually here for growth and evolution and to contribute something much bigger than me or him. If we're put together, it's bigger than that. And I take that very seriously. And so the radical honesty is the essential ingredient for me and for him to show up at that capacity where we're just constantly like, put the bullshit aside. We're here to evolve and shift vibrations. So that's what that means to me.
Thank you. Thanks, Celine. Appreciate it. What comes up for you, brother?
I want to say she said it, yet there's so much more. I need a second.
Okay. Love that. Love that. You see, so this is, there's no coincidences. There were maybe 5 people that I could have chosen to do this 100th episode. And I didn't even tell AJ that it was the 100th episode. I just gave him a few dates. I said, mate, how about one of these 2 dates? I just wanted to see if he would capture it. And then he messages me back and goes, but Rob, that date there is your 100th episode, isn't it? And I was like, I didn't tell him. I was like, he got it. He should be here. And that's how you ended up being number 100. And no coincidences, right? So the things that we're talking about now, what SpeakuP Monday is about, is how can we go to the depths of ourselves, find why we're here in a way, and then how can we take that forward in our lives to impact others in a really powerful way and spread this Maharishi effect, right, to other people. And that's at the fundamental essence of SpeakuP Monday. So I'm loving the fact that he's here and we're talking about this, because this is really kind of what underpins all of it, And the last thing I'll say, give him a little bit more time, is that you see the flyer for today, right? So the flyer, if you get the chance to watch it, is a picture of a half-naked guy. It's this guy, right? Who's ripped to shreds, right? Ripped to shreds. And my partner Marina, who puts these together, my girl, she was like, well, looks good, but this sort of flyer wouldn't attract me, right? Meaning, don't show me a picture. He's got an incredible body, looks amazing, but don't show me a picture of a half-naked guy to get me there, because I'm not. It doesn't entice me. It will entice others because his body's amazing, right? But not me. And here's the interesting part. But I knew that there was something going on. And again, sitting here now with all of you here, I never really saw the ripped body, mate. I see it because look at this, it's crazy. But I knew there was something in him. And again, this is the most we've ever spoken. Right? This is the most we've ever spoken, and I don't know anything about him, apart from he's from Lithuania and his name. That's the 2 questions I asked you before. But guess what? We're having this conversation now, which is the most important conversation that I've had today, by far. So it's interesting, So, my brother, you got it? All right.
You know, when people come together, sometimes in teams and relationships, they say that 1 + 1 = 3. What I feel like it allows us to do is like when 1 + 1, it actually becomes 11. So that's one thing about the relationship that is I just never had before. It was just that surface level egos playing out, trying to reenact a certain pattern that has been seen, or like a certain mask that has been put on, or the identity that has to be met. Once we strip that all away, all that bullshit, that's where that true connection lies, and that's how 1 + 1 becomes 11.
So, guys, in a minute we're going to begin to wrap it up. I'll take a few more questions if you have them, but I want you to stay. Right, the people here, there's a reason for it, and it'll be fun. All right, so I want you to stay. So hang out. Won't take long, but just stay. All right. So now, does anybody have any other questions? Yep, just over here. Cool, my brother. So we'll pass you the microphone around the coconuts, around the bottles on the floor, between the chairs. There you go.
I just want to say, man, that usually the conversations that I have on podcasts or interviews like that are just, I mean, they're optimization driven. It's like I talk about mitochondria and how to, take certain minerals in order to help proteins fold and optimize mitochondria. Yeah, this conversation has been so radically different and so much more profound. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you for being open to it. Yeah. Okay, my brother.
Hi. Well, first I want to say I see you're humble, transparent, and really open-hearted, and it's refreshing to feel that. I feel like you're really there and you're authentic with that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I want to point to one of the topics that was on the headline for the talk, and it's the minimum effective dose. I feel we're living in a moment where everyone is overdoing everything. They're working too much, they're doing too much, they're training too much. Like, everyone's like overworked. Like, hey, you want to meet? Yeah, I have a space like 3 weeks from now. So what I want to ask you is, like, from your expertise and your exploration in this minimum effective dose mindset, what have been your biggest breakthroughs in learning that actually doing less is more?
Man, I can talk about this all day.
He's in his zone of comfort.
Yes.
Great question. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Man, when it comes to doing more than we need to, you see, as you were saying, so many people train too much. All of it takes away, again, let's start with the body, even with the mind. All of this work, all of those hours that we put into the meat suit, into what's between our ears, takes away from us living into our true potential, living into our true purpose. Ooh.
Thank you.
So that's why it's minimal effective dose. Just finding those anchors, finding those little tweaks that are going to help people to just minimally take care of the things that are getting in the way, so they can sweep them out and actually clear all that nonsense and reach the level where they're actually supposed to be at, and keep going. And it's always that never too much. It's like, I know I waste too much time on the things that don't fucking matter, and I want to minimize that, because again, how many seconds, hours, days, years do we have? Not that much. So wasting our time spending 10 hours a week in the gym, if we can cut that by 5x, that saves us time. That saves us time to actually step into our purpose.
Yeah.
From the answer?
Yeah. Follow-up question, no problem. Yeah.
So in a practical way, like we mentioned training, but what are some elements that you discovered that you could do much less It could be like your meditation practice, it could be eating, it could be training, it could be emotional, like whatever. What are the biggest breakthroughs you had at a practical level on this thing of doing less?
Ultimately, if we were to boil down into a very practical application, would be how you start your day, how you finish your day. So your morning routine, what do you anchor yourself to? What's the mind space that you put yourself into first thing in the morning? There's nothing more important, because that sets you up for the rest of it, right? And then before you go to bed, actually clearing the nonsense that you have picked up, that your subconscious mind has accumulated from your surroundings. So again, this is something that I could spend next 12 hours speaking into detail. Unfortunately, we don't have that time. But that would be in simple ways if we take that reductionist approach as how you start your day and how you end it.
Good. Thank you, my brother. Most appreciated. And so, are there any other questions, by the way? We'll look at that. We're good. I think everyone's like, ooh. Yeah, at the back. Great. Jana. So if you could pass the microphone just back to Jana over here, that would be great. Hello, Jana. Welcome, darling. Good to see you. Yeah. Thank you, honey. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I missed almost the whole talk. I thought it would be until 8, and I came half an hour before, so I didn't hear much. But I just want to know about your Lithuanian background. It's like this. I'm also half Lithuanian, and it's just so rare to meet people like that. And how do you end up in this situation?
Ooh, great question.
From someone who missed the whole talk. Sorry.
I'm going to go super quick. Was born in Lithuania, had an opportunity to study in the United States. I was in the military, and I transitioned into the corporate world, realized that I always wanted something more, something different, and I didn't feel like I fit in, ever. When I was in Lithuania, when I was in the States, when I was everywhere I went, I just didn't feel like I fit in. So Bali is one of those places where misfits end up. So that's ultimately how I ended up here. Yeah.
I love it. You heard it here. If you're in Bali, you're a misfit. Get over it. Love it. Enjoy. Let's go. Get into it. Misfit mayhem. Step up.
Step up.
Or step back. Step up or get out, right? I love that. That's the other one. Step up. It's the latest equivalent. Step up or get the hell out. I won't swear. I swear. I've sworn already. So, any more questions? Yeah, Rufus. Yeah. So if we get the microphone to... Oh, it's so other people can hear you. Yeah.
Maybe you have something you want to tell us, except your work. Tell or maybe talk.
You know what? That's a great question. And I said before that I don't usually repeat the same question each time, but I lied. I do. There's one which I do repeat, which is what you just said. So basically, to finish up the show, which you're about to do soon, and we're all going to stay because we've got this fun thing I want to do with you, right? It's not naughty. Well, it depends, actually. No, it's not. It's not. But what we do, Rufus, is that I ask him, is there anything left that you want to say? It may be something you said before. It might be something new. It might be something that you've forgotten to say. And then I'll leave that to him to then close the show with, which I think is sort of the question you were asking. Sort of. If it wasn't, we can do it.
No, just I wanted to hear something except the work, maybe news, maybe something, one more. What he want to tell us.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think we'll do that at the end because after. Yeah, but thank you for bringing it up. But we're definitely going to do that. And then afterwards, it's going to be even more fun. So you're going to get exactly what you wanted.
Because I want to know what the camera, who you are.
Yeah.
Not like you are just work, just like nutrition, like just training, just something about yourself, not about your past, just about you.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that in a second. Thanks for the question, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. So guys, so this is episode number 100. So many people to thank, things to say. I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter and just say thank you to everybody who's either played a part, who's shared this, who's been a guest, who in the audience the last 100 episodes, those who have helped scale it, give me advice. A guy called Morten, who might be watching this, it was a conversation between me and this Norwegian guy called Morten, who at Temora Gallery here in Canggu, when we had a shop called Life in Bali, I had this couple were dancing around in the middle of the day like waltzing or something, and I was like, the heck? I'm like, what are you two doing? They go, we are waltzing. That's my Norwegian accent. We are waltzing, right? I say, it's 1 o'clock. You don't waltz at 1 o'clock. He goes, why not? And so he's nuts, this guy. He's crazy. So we just got on like a house on fire, right? It was obvious. And Morten's a speaker. He lives in Zanzibar now, and he's building this amazing retreat in Zanzibar. So if you want to go to Zanzibar, get in touch and I'll give you Morten's details. He's an amazing human being. And it was Morten who said, you have this place, you have a space, you're a speaker. Why are you not doing something with speakers? And I was like, damn, that's a good idea. And then literally 2 weeks later, Speak Up Monday was born, and he was the very first speaker. So it's crazy how things happen, and we've been very good friends ever since. So he's a beautiful guy. So I want to thank Morten. I want to thank Itchy, Bella, Guzman, here, Tropical Nomad. So we filmed the last 45 episodes here, and the level of quality and sound and vision have literally gone up exponentially, and it's really thanks to Itchy. So brother man, I love you dearly. You're my Japanese brother from another mother living here in Bali. For those of you who don't know Itchy, he is a beautiful human being, man. So if you haven't had the chance to meet him and say hello, make sure you do, because it's so worth it, right? So thank you. I want to thank my girl Marina, our kids Alexa, who's 6, Almira, who's 4, who have been like the inspiration and joy of my life for the last 8 years, the incredible people. The guys at Temora Gallery, Jocko, Mark, the whole family, my other family at Temora Gallery, they're amazing people, and I've been working with these guys for a long time. So thank you to them, and most importantly, I just want to thank Bali. Bali has been one of the most incredible places on the most incredible journey of my life, and I've lived in 5 different countries, and so much has happened in my life. But Bali has been amazing, as it is for all of us. I think it unites us all, and we all bow down to Bali, and the energy here that guides us, gels with us, brings us together, allows us to be optimized in the best possible way, right? Bali just gives you that opportunity to look deep inside yourself and to grow and to be vulnerable and to open yourself and to become a better human being as a direct result. So most of all, thank you and love to Sister Bali. Whew. So the people here, stay, because we're going to do something afterwards that won't take long, but it's going to be great and you're going to love it. That's why you come. And I'm going to give the mic to AJ in a second, and then he's going to close the show out with a question inspired by Brother Rufus here. Thank you, my brother. All right, tell us something that is close to your heart, something about you, right? And I'm sure you would do that. And who else can I thank? I thank you, everyone here, for coming. Episode number 100. There's a lot going on in Bali right now, and I really appreciate, respect the fact that you took some time to come out here and spend it with us. So please give yourself a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank yourself, Rob, for doing this. You're the one that's always doing this and sharing and connecting.
Thank you, Elsa. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm going to now pass the mic. He's got his own mic. Pass the mic to AJ, who's going to close us out. Remember to hang out. Won't take long, but it's why you're here. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And that's me.
Thanks, man. Once again, thanks for having me. 100th episode. I picked it on purpose. I was shooting for it. And that was a good question, man. Besides my work, I consider myself to be a human who's learning how to love imperfection, and most importantly, how to love other humans. And that's what I wish for everybody to learn over their lifetimes, rather sooner than later. Be optimized.